Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Welcome to the Circle Life and Business Show. It's episode number 4. I can't believe we're on episode number 4 already. We have such a great topic for you today, and I want to first introduce my co-hosts. That one was Tammy Hudgen, monitoring. We have Tracy Evans.
Hey, everybody.
We have Louise Martinera and Heather Meeks.
Hello.
And myself, I'm Lynn Pelzer, and we're really excited for the topic today of sales. So each of us have a different experience. Some of us love sales. Some of us have grown to
totally.
love the fact that sales equals income, so we do it, whether we like it or not. And some of us have probably found some other ways to do sales that fit with our personality, maybe some not, what not to do. So we're going to talk about that today. And you guys, I think you're going to love it. Please drop us comments or questions too. We really want to hear what you're thinking about. So I am going to just call someone out to start. Oh, you're giggling? It's you. Tammy, the floor is yours. Tell us about sales. You've done some amazing stuff with sales. I mean, for years, going back to direct sales. Yeah. Your current Facebook business.
Absolutely.
Tell me.
For me,
your best.
when it comes to sales, this has worked so well for me that I do it every single Monday. So for anyone that follows me on my personal timeline, I lay out my week. But I'm very strategic about it. And some people don't realize that what I'm actually doing is selling to them.
Yeah.
So today's post was talking about, one example was that Wednesday is a full day of Zoom calls with those who signed up for my online course. So I promoted my online course indirectly. So I do that every single Monday. I lay out my entire week. And if you read it, you'll see that I have, Tammy's doing this, and they're all elements of what I do to sell. Right?
Can I just share with you that I know you've taught people this, and so I've seen a few people do it, but and it's authentic for everybody.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but it sure does tell you a little bit about what people do without actually selling to anybody. So I love it.
Well, and I've generated leads from it. And it's funny, I even did something on Instagram one time. I took a screenshot of my of a newsletter I was working on for a client. And I just made sure that you couldn't see which client it was. And I posted on Instagram. Do you know I actually got a client out of that? She private messaged me and said, I didn't know you did newsletters. Can I get more information? And that was just me coming up with something to put on my Instagram, right? So it's funny when you, without even realizing sometimes you're selling.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just sharing, this is what I'm doing without saying, buy my package, buy my services, right?
It's incredibly important. I was saying what I do in real estate, I see realtors and they're like posting their house. People don't want to see your houses. They know you sell houses. They want to see you. They want to connect. Yeah. They want that relationship. They're like, oh, that girl's selling houses. Here I am with a sold sign with my client, with my children. They're like, they know that I'm working. And I don't need to say, hey, I'm selling this house, or hey, come buy a house. Although I do from time to time. But for the most part, they just want to get to know the personality, and therein comes your sales. So I said, I love sales because sales isn't salesy to me. It's natural. It's a way of living. Yeah. It's okay. So we're friends. Okay, well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. You need a bigger house, don't you? You need a smaller house. Someone whose husband or wife passed away, or someone's having a baby, and I need to genuinely help that person. So if your mindset is not that it's selling, if your mindset is that I'm here to help, and I have one person in particular who said, one of my best friends is a real estate agent, but I'm calling you because I feel you'll be more compassionate with this client who's recently lost their spouse. And I was like, wow, that's nice. I mean, I'm honored. I said, and also in building those relationships, by not always posting my house, people get to know you. And I think that way, too, that sale is so much more important, right? Because then it's not just, I have clients who have invited me to go on vacation with them. I've been asked to baptize a baby, and I've been at their weddings, right? I mean, and so yes.
That's amazing.
Do I sell? Absolutely. That's what I was built for. I mean, every time I open my mouth, I walk into Walmart and the greeters are like, hey, I'm like, hey, do I need to buy a house or sell a house today? And I'm handing out cards. I mean, any single place I go, I'm always dropping cards and leaving them just because someone's going to say, hey, you know what? I know that girl. Yeah, give her a call.
But you're making them feel good about it instead of icky. I think that's the thing people don't like about sales is because we've all been approached by someone who made us feel pressured, made it feel uncomfortable to say no. It's very different when it is, what was the word you used? I can't remember.
Oh, geez, now I don't remember.
But it's sort of nonchalant. Like you're putting it out there. Here's a card. You're not cornering them into saying, so tell me your situation right now and you better call me sort of thing, because nobody likes that.
It's selling without being salesy.
Yeah.
Well,
there's also a curiosity component to that as well, because people want to know, like, okay, well, what is it that she does? You know, she seems to post every Monday and she's having this fabulous week, and what exactly is that she does? And that leads them obviously to go and look up you. And just touching on what you were saying, I think especially online, I find so many people are selling hype. You know, it's like a dime a dozen. It's like, you know, buy my product. It's the best thing. I have the best opportunity. Get rich by the end of the month. Get skinny by, you know, in 2 weeks. Selling hype, I do believe there's a time and a place for hype. But I really think people need to break it down and kind of reverse engineer the sale. So instead of telling people, you know, the what, they're telling people the why and the how behind the product or the opportunity. Like for myself and, you know, everybody who knows me knows that I'm very passionate about the network marketing profession and industry. And for me, you know, and I'm sure for a lot of you who know people in those industries, you know, you log online and there's, you know, just a flood of people selling their stuff. But what sets you apart, right? Like, what is it that really sets you apart? And I think reverse engineering the sales process by starting with, how can it help somebody? Because it's about helping and serving people, just like you said, Louise, right? Yeah. It's not about being salesy. What can it do for them?
Now, Elsie made a really interesting comment.
Hi, Elsie.
We all know Elsie. But this was really cool. She said, building relationships type of sales is a farmer instead of a hunter.
Yes.
Ooh, I like
that. Right? Yeah.
Well, because it's not that instant gratification that people are looking for. It's you're planting seeds and gathering your crop over time. Right?
I think that's the issue, though, is that I think we're built to believe that if we put it out there, we'll sell it. So we think that we have to constantly sell. I think it's just this whole what's in our heads. And if I don't promote it, if I don't try and sell it, I'm not going to make any money. Right. If I do the fluff, right? If I focus more on selling me and building relationships, it's going to take me too long to actually get the sale, right? So it's changing that mindset and believing that you can build your business just by being you and being real and educating people, which will...
Yeah, and I think that's a big component of it too. And it starts with having confidence in what you're promoting and what you do, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like if you believe in what you're doing and you know that you can,
then
what
you
your
welcome
service
the
brings.
competition.
Yeah, exactly. If you know that your service is going to help somebody or your product is going to change something for someone, it's not about selling. It's about helping them understand how that can work.
Right.
When I look at my certification business, side of my business, for example, you know, there are lots of different certifications out there for people to be able to get trained in what I do and offer their own programs and help people using their horses. And anyone who's a horse person would have a passion to work with their horses generally. So obviously that's a big piece of it, is find your passion and fulfill your passion. But there, you know, I have competitors out there where every video or every post is, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best.
Right.
And I just don't approach it that way. You know, like I might be the best for some people,
right,
but I'm not going to be the best for everybody. When I take on a certification client, you know, I want a long-term relationship with them because I want to help them build their business. It's not just, here's your certification, good luck, because that doesn't help my business overall either, or them. So I take the approach where let me help you understand what's out there so that you can make an educated decision. And I welcome my clients or potential clients to go and check out every one of my competitors. Do your research.
Absolutely.
I want you to come to me when you know I'm the right solution for you and we can work together to make it happen for you. And that's kind of how I've really switched around from that perspective, because I can't pound people every day saying this is why we're great. I'm so great because of this. It's just not my style. I'm like, if you like me, great, check out my stuff, but make sure you do your research and know where you're going.
Well, and it's a different fit for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough business for everybody.
That's
the
key.
I would say, because
Amen.
initially when I
Definitely.
came into my business, I was like, I want it all. I want it all. I mean, and your motivation is always different,
Right. Yeah.
right? I was working 80, 100 hours a week. I was absolutely, people were just like, wow, do you sleep? No, I don't sleep. This is what I do. And I wanted it all. And now, as I've evolved, I'm like, oh, I mean, it didn't take long. It's been a while now where I'm like, there's enough business for everyone.
Mhm.
And
There really
as long
is.
as you, then you're like, oh yeah, you're going to interview other agents? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, let me know and fit me in there. And then you bring your game too. Then you're like,
Right.
listen, this is why I'm great.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
people fit. You know, you find that I tell sometimes, I'm like, you know what? I think that person is going to end up with someone else because their personality doesn't seem to match mine.
Yeah.
Right? Where I'm incredibly ambitious and I'm very like, you want to buy a house? You know where I am? Let's go buy a house. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to take
Mhm.
3 years to buy a house, I could do that too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm a little bit more, not aggressive, however, forceful when necessary. In my industry, it's important, right?
sure,
Like you have to,
for sure.
we have timelines that we need
Yep.
to make. So it
Yeah.
sounds a little bit.
But it's also important to know that not everyone's your client. So if you're in that sales
Absolutely.
mode and you're
Mhm.
so determined to nail every single sale,
Yeah.
you lose sight of not everyone is your perfect client. I mean, I have sent people to what would be perceived competitors that do a whole different approach to EAL because that's them. Like it has to
Yes,
fit them,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't bring you that. I can't help you in that way, but this particular modality can go there. And you have to be okay with that. And I find that opens the door for the right clients to
Absolutely.
find
I
you
was
as
gonna
well.
say, some
Which
people would
makes
see that as
business way more fun.
disappointment though, right? They'd be like, well, I
Yeah.
don't get it all. And I think therein lies a problem for some people. Because some
Right.
people are like, how come you are happy doing this and I can't seem to get this? You know, I mean, and a
Yeah.
lot of people compare themselves to others. It's what they
Right,
do,
yeah.
right? And you're kind of
Human nature.
right? I mean, and you are the benchmark, right? So people are like, oh, well, if I'm up against Tracy, maybe I'm not as good. However, they are in their own right. And I think it's important to recognize that too, right?
Yeah.
And I think as well, when as all my graduates will tell you, my mantra is all boats rise with the tide. So it doesn't help me if no one else is offering equine assisted learning because I'm one voice.
Yeah, no,
I can't educate
absolutely.
the world on the value of equine assisted learning. I
Yeah.
need lots of people doing this and creating a groundswell,
Yeah.
and really being comfortable in the fact that people are going to do it different ways, and I want them to do it different ways. It's the same with my team building business. You know, if you want to go axe throwing, go axe throwing. There are benefits to taking your team axe throwing. I don't compete with axe throwing.
Yeah.
Because I offer a different experience that's got more longevity
Right.
and lasting results and all
Right.
that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But I don't say axe throwing sucks.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Well,
No.
and
You know?
that is a very valid point because that's the
Yes.
other thing that people have to be aware of. You cannot bash another product.
No.
You can't bash another competitor. It's just going to
No,
make you look
just
bad.
Have faith in your
Right.
own.
So yeah, you have to have faith in what you're selling. And I think that is an issue too. I think people take on a business without really having the passion for it. I mean, because when you do, I'm going to give a perfect
This
example.
is beautiful. Yeah, I'm like, I love this.
For those that
Because I
know
was
Antonetta, so she's been on a journey in the last year and has lost over 100 pounds.
Right.
Now, I've known her for quite a long time. She's been through now she works full time, but she's taken on through her journeys 2 different direct sales company. Never really got them off the ground. I mean, she had sales and a few team members, but it never really took her anywhere. When she went on this personal journey for the last year, she is now she just announced her exciting news, but she's taking over a class where she's going to be the mentor for others who are struggling with weight. And the woman, I cried when she made the announcement on her video. I literally cried because listening to her, she found it. And it was a whole different person.
Yeah.
Right?
Congratulations.
Yeah. Because of how she's putting it out there, you read it so much differently than when it's a sales post that you're not actually very much interested in.
Right.
And this just takes up the feed where, oh, I'm selling this and I'm selling this and I'm selling this. And I'm like, oh, for the love of God. You know, I mean, it's different when you're selling you and what you believe in and you're supporting your family or yourself through this. You're like, wow, this is me. And let me showcase what I have for you. Not, well, you know, I'm an employee of someone else, which sometimes if you do believe it or you've had a personal experience, it works, right? But
What
You have
about
to know
when
how to
we're
talk
new?
to your audience, period.
Yes, but what about the people that are new? And you're learning how to do sales from some other place. They're
Right.
telling you what to do. They're giving you a script.
Mm-hmm.
I know the scripts. I was taught the
Yeah.
scripts.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
often
Me
they
too.
didn't feel right for me, but then I would feel guilty. I don't know anybody else. I'd feel guilty not to do it the way they said, but I would kind of do it what fit me.
Right.
And I created something of my own, and some experts would say to do it a little bit differently, and I didn't like it. It didn't fit me, so it didn't come across
It's
genuine.
not genuine, right?
Yeah.
And I tried, and I made lots of sales both ways, but the ones that stayed and remained my customers were people that it was genuinely me, treating them how
they trust you.
they would trust instead of backing you into a corner.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ways you can back people into a corner to make a sale,
Mhm.
right? We probably have all been taught some of those skills, and
But
it
you're not going to make
doesn't
the second
work.
sale. Or
You're
the third
not.
Well,
sale.
when
and
it
nobody
comes down to
feels good.
sustainability, right? Like that, you cannot sustain that. You cannot. You might have tons of success out the gate,
Mhm.
but that
Mhm.
success ends up dwindling down because you're not coming from a place of authenticity.
Mhm.
And over time, people figure that out.
Mhm.
Like, come on, right?
Right.
But I think you make a great point, Lynn, about people who are getting into their business and
Yes.
new to sales. And I can speak to that in the sense that my career was very marketing focused. So I was behind the scenes creating the messaging, and then I would send our sales team out and go forth and spew my messaging. Make them spend money on their credit card. And that, and so I was behind the scenes. And when I got my own business, it was a real hurdle for me because I was not comfortable in that sales role. I was not comfortable cold calling people or even reaching out to my network because I had that identity crisis, which we talked about, I think, in a previous show.
Mhm.
So getting over that and really building your own internal confidence, I think, is step one.
Mhm.
Definitely.
And not apologizing for wanting to share what you love and what you do. And if you do it in a right way and you don't do it in a, if I had approached everyone I knew and said, so when are you bringing your team? I probably wouldn't have done very well in my first several years. But being able to just go and have conversations and can maintain those relationships has ultimately developed my business because they now know I'm here. You know who I am. You know what I'm doing. When the time is right, you have the time, budget, and desire to do something like that. You know where to find me. And rather than, hey, have you thought about that team building event yet? Hey, are you coming on?
Absolutely. When they know you're the product.
Yeah.
People know I do real estate. I don't need to tell them all the time.
Exactly.
I don't need to throw it in their face.
Exactly.
They know where to
does
find
take
me,
that
right?
confidence because you have to, again, you have to.
Mhm.
How do people build the
Knock on
confidence
doors.
when they're brand
Knock
new?
on doors. Keep knocking on doors. Knock on 1,000 doors. If you knock on 2,000 doors,
Get over
one
it.
of them will eventually open.
Yeah.
They will open. I'm telling you, when I
It's
first
absolutely
knocked, I was knocking on doors. And actually a friend had seen me knocking on doors. And it was a lady I knew. And she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I have a real estate license and there's buyers and I need to show somebody my listing presentation because I have this new fancy listing presentation I tell you to do. And I was like, let me at least practice on you. Please, can I show it to you?" They'd seen me a few days out there and it was cold. It was November. It was like -13. And they invited me in. And that was my first house sale. And I wasn't trying to sell it. I was just like, hey, and once I educated them, and I think we touched on that earlier, once you educate them on this is what the market is, and now this is what your equity is in your home, and maybe you want to consider that move, then it's my job just to furnish them the information. They can do what they want with it. Right? I mean, and I think educating people.
Yeah.
A large portion of that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, hon.
A very quick point. I was just thinking, it's turning that mindset on its head. You're not selling, you're helping.
Absolutely.
And when you really look at it genuinely from that perspective, why wouldn't you make the call?
Now we actually,
Absolutely.
we have a comment here from Sue Carr that I thought we probably should address. So she says, "Thank you. That's where I'm stuck, but I also need sales to survive."
Yes, that's what I'm coming back to. Right when you're new and you're afraid maybe to do certain things, and you don't have all the confidence in the world to do it, but you still need to make a sale, and you need to you need to make the sale to grow the confidence. So it's like, let's back it way up. How do you start that? Like, what's your suggestion?
Your why needs to be greater than your excuses. Period.
Oh, I love
End
that.
of discussion. Because for me, I went into it and like I've said, I have no post-secondary education. I decided that I was going to do this later in life, and I hit the ground running, and I wasn't taking no for an answer. And I had my why was my children, and I had to make it work. There was no other option, right? So when you have no other option, so Sue, if you need to make that sale, then you know what? Whatever the excuses are, whatever you're scared to do, go do it. Because once you do it once, you're going to be like, wow, that wasn't that hard. And you're going to do it again and again and again. And then it's just going to become who you are. And you're not going to be scared anymore. You're going to be like, wow, this is so easy because I'm helping that person.
I'll just say Sue is actually a graduate of mine.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so Sue.
Okay. Sue has the hurdle of trying to, explain to her market that horses can help them build their business or build their, help their teams and what have you. So Sue, I would totally agree with what Louise just said, but also being open to what else can you do? Because I was in that same boat. I'd left my big corporate job. I had this crazy idea and I needed to replace an income. So for me, I opened my mind to, okay, I want to do corporate team building, and I was very narrowly focused. But the reality was I had a lot of educating in that market to do before everybody was just going to sign up.
Right.
So where did I have less education required? Date night. People want to do fun. I mean,
absolutely.
They're not
It's
paying the
amazing.
rent, but it's getting that people
getting
your name out there.
Finding what people enjoy and what are easy sells, like trying to find the things that just are easy for people to adapt to or to embrace for other reasons. Finding that need in the market where you're, the rest of your business, you're going to have to create that need and make them understand. But there are certain elements in our business where we can find, certain people need, like people want to do something fun for date night. That gets people in the door, gets you doing what you love, and it gets you practicing that mantra, building your confidence in your business. I ran kids programs, which was never my core focus, but it got people in my arena, it got my horses working, it got me doing what I love, and it was
Facebook feed.
Momentum, right? Yeah.
And I think that's important too. So sometimes you have to sell something that really isn't your main focus to bring in the visibility. I've had people say to me, I give away too much for free. Well, the reality is I don't. I mean, I'm very strategic with what I give away for free. But I have to, you guys all need to know I'm the expert. But how do you know I'm the expert if I don't give you something? So for me, as long as I continue to educate and offer some free elements, it just gets you to know who I am, my knowledge. And even if I don't make a sale to you, you're going to become a referral. You're going to go and tell people about me, right? So sometimes you do things that you that aren't technically generating a sale, but you need to do them. Right? We did have another question here. Debbie Smith, she says her why is her children and her grandchildren. But how do you go about selling products other than social media? So outside of social media, how are you selling products?
Okay, so we're at our time. So let's do a quick one because I don't want to ignore that. I mean, we'll put some comments in too.
For sure.
If it's not social media, it's got to be one-on-one. Of course, you got for certain people, it's trade shows. Would you agree? I mean, I don't do that anymore, but there was a time when I did.
I agree.
It's got to be one-on-one. Don't always start with your friends and family like they say. It's easier to talk to strangers.
Friends and family's never going to give you any money. Just move on from that.
But social media is a gold mine. I don't think it's wrong, but there's a right way to do it. Follow Tammy for sure on that one. But guys, can we each maybe put a comment down there afterwards? So we have to wrap it up. I don't want to miss it.
And there are a few more things there, so we'll make sure we come online and we will give you some feedback or some suggestions based on things that we ultimately do that can help.
And if there's a theme, if we've left a gap in this conversation, maybe we do a sales part 2 next week.
I feel like we could talk for a pretty long. It is.
I want to give you guys permission before we just close it up. I think everyone's going to agree with this. You're not going to make every sale. And when you first start, personal experience, I tracked every number and it was 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 that I did a full presentation to. And after a number of years, that grew to about 6 out of 10. And now I don't really have to go talking. People come to me. So this is a long time that took. I was a disaster before I became a master, if I even am at this point. Okay? This is not my saying. It's this other guy. right, David Wood.
Love it.
Every master was once a disaster. And so
Yeah.
I just want to leave you with that and be permission to not be perfect, and you're not going to get every sale, but we're going to keep growing. And I'd love to hear more in the conversation. Ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everyone.
Cheers.
Have a great week.
Ladies,
Happy
happy Monday. Have a
Bye.
great week.
Sell.
Bye. Oh, I have to turn it off.
And we're still here.
Okay, we're hanging on. Beautiful.
That's awesome.